I was watching I was watching Nick Merckx play Fortnite tonight. It's kind of funny because he plays Apex and he gets shit on basically all the fucking time. Watched him play COD, basically also very much got shit on most of the time unless people are in close quarters with him. I was watching him play Fortnite in the no build mode, and it is literally like watching a fucking magnet switch to people. And he's like, oh my god, you see how good my accuracy is, guys? I'm fucking amazing at my accuracy. Holy shit, I'm so fucking good, you know? And he's like sitting here stuffing his mouth with Cheetos, and then at the same time holding his controller and backpedaling, and people just like, the crosshair just like clicks to people. It also looks like the guns are more accurate when you're using aim assist. Like if you look at the spread on the weapon, normally the way distribution works of gun in games when it has spread, so it has weapon spread. The way that it works is those bullets will fall inside of the reticule. That's the way it works. And as recoil increases it and as the accuracy decreases, the crosshair will spread. But all the bullets should fall in a distribution inside of the crosshair. That's the way games are programmed. If they're programmed correctly, the bullets will always fall inside of that crosshair. And there's a lot of people that don't understand how weapon spread works in games. And that's why it leads them to just come up with stupid ideas. Oh, it's a really bad idea. Oh, this is terrible. Because they don't really understand how the spread actually works in the game. But anyways, like watching Nick tonight, his spread, so where you could see the hit markers inside of the spread were different than the spread, which means Fortnite is giving aim assist players a different spread for their weapons than people without aim assist, because you can watch anyone else play that uses a keyboard and mouse, and that doesn't happen. I was watching him use the shotgun, and the shotgun crosshair is like this. That's not a good square. That's a rectangle. You know, the crosshair for the shotgun is like this, and the bullets weren't going like this. They weren't clumping inside of here. They're going like this. It was like twice as accurate as the normal. I don't know how to quantify that. Twice as accurate as the normal weapon. You can literally look where the hit markers are, and it's completely different than what the crosshair looks like. And that means Fortnite is giving aim assist players a huge advantage. And it was this way before, and that's not really a big deal. It was this way back with with building. The problem is with no build is there's no protection anymore, and I assume that they gave them an extra leg up because controller players just do so fucking horribly bad in the game that they feel the need to prop them up on a pedestal so they can actually compete. And that's a completely wrong approach. You should be giving people that have controller the ability to use a keyboard and mouse, and that's it. You should not be giving them aim assist. Gyro aiming is basically best case scenario for a controller. And once again, if they don't have aim assist, they're probably still not going to do well. And if you guys have used gyro aiming, I went through a whole thing using gyro aiming. I did it with the PS controller, and then I also did it with the Steam controller. Steam's pretty good with the gyro aim. First attempt at gyro aiming was with the Steam controller when I was playing COD. And it does work, but aim assist definitely picks up for like the part, and it takes a lot of finesse, but aim assist definitely makes up for the part. So if you're actually attempting to play and be competitive, gyro aiming is basically best case scenario, but it's still not going to be as good as keyboard and mouse. And you don't need to give controller players a crutch. You don't need to give them a handicap, even though it's harder using a controller. That's not your fault. They can use a keyboard and mouse. They choose not to use a keyboard and mouse. It's their choice to not use a keyboard and mouse. So why would you cater to people like that? I don't know. I have no idea why you'd cater to people like that. But for some strange reason, Fortnite does. And it is annoying as shit. Not just Fortnite, a lot of games do, and it's annoying as fucking shit. Yeah. What region do you queue into KSA? Like, where do you live? You're in NA, right? I don't remember. Yeah. I don't know, Hodo, if you're bullshitting or what, because you fucking troll so much. Like, I don't actually understand where you stand on issues anymore, so. I don't know if you're agreeing, disagreeing, you're tired of people talking about aim assist. I've talked about it over the years. It's bullshit. It's basically what it amounts to. Like back when I was playing COD, it basically, when you're playing solo COD, it eliminates CQB. You come around a corner and there's a guy there holding a bead, you're dead. If they have an aim assist, you're dead. It just hooks onto you and it will not let go. Okay. Yeah, I don't understand. I don't know which direction you're coming at things from. So, yeah, one of the biggest first encounters with that was with Call of Duty, with what is it called? The Battle Royale mode. I don't know, whatever the Battle Royale is mode for COD. It was basically my first real run-in with it. And you just run in front of someone, it just clicks to you and it will not let go. I love CQB in video games because it forces you into fast interactions where you actually have to try and move and deal with it. And I think that's really cool. Like Titanfall, I love fucking Titanfall. That was a great game. Twitch shit on it because a lot of people weren't good at it. And then cheating took it over and fucked it, so. But, like, there's an interaction, like, let's say you have a player here, and if this guy has aim assist, he's literally a turret in Call of Duty. When you get within a certain range, it adds auto-rotation, and it will literally move your crosshair along with you. So, like, even if you jump, you go down, you slide while you're shooting at them, that crosshair will literally be just locked to your body. I've had people where I've ran past them, like, they're on the edge of a corner right here, like this. Let's imagine a corner right here, right? And I'm coming like this, and this guy's right here holding a bead, and I run like this right past him, and the crosshair does a 180 flip on a person with a controller. Does a 180 flip while perfectly being locked to your body, and you can't. It's an aimbot. You can't deal with it. It is a built-in synthetic solution to help players with controller. And I don't know where this came up, where this entitlement came up from, but it should not exist. This should not be a thing in video games, and it is. For whatever strange reason, it still exists in games today, and it's not just normal games, like in competitive games too, like they keep propping it up further and further. Yeah, of course they are, and like you'll see things like backpedaling. That's why I mentioned backpedaling, because they can barely aim because joysticks suck. That's just the way it is. It's not like necessarily means the player is bad. The input method is bad. Joysticks really suck for aiming accurately. So what they'll do is, because they can't aim well, is they'll just back up while doing this. They'll back up while rotating the joystick, trying to keep it locked on your body. It's not something, because otherwise if you get behind them, it's very difficult for them to turn around, because once again, they're using a joystick. And it's very, very difficult to make spin 180s when you're using a joystick. So they'll always try to, like, they'll always back up so you don't get behind them. You'll see it in pretty much every game. They'll also hold corners all the time. Not that holding corners is bad. A lot of people hold corners, right? But they'll try to abuse it. Like, let's say you're chasing someone and you're getting shots on them. They'll do something like you have a corner of a building here, and you're shooting at them, and they're going to lose a firefight, is they'll run and slide behind the corner here, and then they'll hold an angle on the corner. So when you go around the corner, it'll click to your body and it won't let go. Yeah. And once again, aim assist should not be a fucking thing. It should not exist in competitive games at all. It's just a crutch to prop up a shitty input method. And I mentioned before, one of the best input methods. I don't have my Steam controller here. Steam controller looks a lot more. I don't know, nuanced, I guess you could say. But like one of the best input methods for a controller is gyro aiming, and this isn't. I don't even think this has gyro aiming. Only my Steam controller has gyro aiming because this isn't a PS5 controller. Best input method is literally gyro aiming, which allows you to aim like this, and it's very close. You can dial it in very well when you're using gyro aiming, and then you can put it on a trigger so you can toggle when you turn it on or on rotation, or like whenever you want to use it. And it's basically the best case scenario for gamepad. But I was watching Nick Merckx tonight play Fortnite, and it honestly makes me never want to touch that game again. It literally does. He's just walking around fucking eating Cheetos and just insta-killing people because they just lock onto their chest whenever he fires a shotgun, and just lock onto their chest and they just explode. DualShock 4 should have gyro capabilities. I don't think it was ever used. I think it has it. I seem to remember something about it has it, but it was never really used. Fortnite added gyro aiming. KSA told me about that. Fortnite added gyro aiming, and I guess that's it. They still definitely have aim assist in the game. Nick's definitely not using gyro aiming. It's kind of funny because he still uses joystick because it's like. So a gamepad does two different things here. One, obviously, gives you an advantage. A couple different things. One is it gives you an aim assist advantage, so you don't need to be as skilled. Another that it does is allows you to cater to a certain demographic. Hey, look, guys, I'm a console player. It doesn't matter if you're playing on a computer, by the way, but I am a console player as long as I use this thing, right? This is an identity. This right here is an identity. And people use this as a way of catering to a certain demographic on Twitch. And Nick knows if he stops using this, he'll be compared to every other streamer in existence. So he continues to use a controller because it allows him as an out, right? Oh, it's just because that guy's a keyboard and mouse player, right? You know, I do pretty good for being on a controller. and it allows you an out and an option for basically just shitting the bed is what it comes. It's basically an excuse, but it also represents an identity. Hey, look, I am a generation, right? I'm not one of those keyboard mouse master race. I am a controller player. I am a controller player, guys. Therefore, I am good. I am from the PS5 Xbox generation, even though I play on a computer now, because computers are vastly superior to an Xbox and PlayStation. I play on a controller, because this is how I identify to my viewers, right? This is a way of identifying to your viewers. And that's why he continues to do it. And if he's presented with an option, if basically it comes down to he definitely wants to look good in front of his viewers, which is why he's playing Fortnite now. He was playing Apex and he's just getting shit on. And he went back to Fortnite after no build because the aim assist is so fucking strong. Just go watch him. The aim assist is so incredibly strong, it doesn't fucking matter. You just walk around shooting shit. Well, yeah, there's Blackout. I played Blackout. Blackout had a shitload of cheating in it, too. A lot of people hiding in corridors. But it wasn't until the Modern Warfare variant that it actually... Warzone, there you go. It wasn't until the Modern Warfare variant where it actually got fun, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, there's people come up... So the developers themselves never really talk about aim assist. So it's always based off of commentary from, essentially, content creators. And they come up with sometimes weird wording for different things that affect things like aim rotation, for instance. Magnet, where it'll actually just like, it'll actually click onto a target. Aim rotation, where it'll turn your aim without you doing anything. Lock-on distances, there's a lot of different aspects to it. But definitely in Fortnite, it also tightens the accuracy of weapons, which it shouldn't do at all. It definitely makes weapons more accurate. You can see that just by watching his videos. It looks like the weapon is like twice as accurate as it is for keyboard and mouse, just based on the crosshair and where the hit spread is for the weapons themselves. You can especially see it with shotgun. What do you mean by that? Ecospheres of MLG. Do you mean like different rule sets or something? Yeah, it's always... I've mentioned this before, but as far as like streaming on Twitch, COD has always been this weird area where it feels like you're only invited if you're playing on controller. That changed with Warzone, but prior to Warzone, it felt like it was one of those areas that was relegated only to console players. I actually tried to do that for a while. I switched during the Advanced Warfare era. I switched from playing on because I got sick of cheating. So I got sick of fucking cheating so bad, I switched to Advanced Warfare. I literally bought a PS3, I think it was at the time. PS4, PS3. I think it was a PS3. I bought a PS3 at the time. I had it set up, and I streamed for about a month playing Advanced Warfare on controller. And one of the things that, well, a couple things that I figured out. One is that fucking consoles suck dick. There's nothing quite like having a stuttery, fucking smeary mess on your screen constantly, which gave me a headache. It's like playing at 30 FPS, just constantly giving you a headache is obnoxious because of the low frame rate and fast action, and everyone tries to hold corners. That's literally what it's all about, is just holding corners and expecting someone to run in front of you. It was boring as shit. It's relegated to MLG. Yeah, but there's an entire generation that like grew up on COD and kind of Halo, but mainly COD. And Halo's seen its days. At least COD tries to improve itself. Halo doesn't improve itself. It just tries to spit out the same shit and just thinks it got it slightly wrong and just tries to make it more true to the original games. And it's just like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, I need to get my coffee, guys. Be right back. Ah. Yeah, I don't know. I was just watching Nick Merckx tonight and I was like, hey, I was playing no build up until a while ago. And then like you can watch other streamers that are relatively good at Fortnite and see the shots that they hit and miss, right? And I was watching him play the game and it was like, yeah, I'm not gonna fucking play. I'm not playing no build anymore to get farmed by basically bots, essentially people that are bots. Like I was watching him play it and I was like, holy shit, there's literally people just walking around with essentially weapons that will just lock onto you and not let go. I'm not fucking playing that anymore. Not that I was anyways. I was going to play Apex if I had a chance at Battle Royales. But watching him play tonight just really made me lose faith in Fortnite. It just goes to show you where the game is without building. Building is essentially like a gimmick. It's like a fucking cheese. It's obviously original to Fortnite itself, right? And I have no problems with that. But when you take away the one gimmick that it has, you can see basically the game for what it is, and it's not very good. It's not pretty right now. It can be. Epic's a fantastic company, but Fortnite as it stands right now is not something I would invest time in without building, and even if with building, it's a gimmick that I'm not interested in, so that's where it stands, right? But watching Nick Merckx play, you can tell that the aim assist is overtuned, as the kids say. The aim assist is overtuned for the fact that you can't build properly with a controller. I don't know. Cheaper price fall under MSRP soon? Oh, you don't say. That had something to do with ROI on Ethereum. Really? You don't say. Mm-hmm. Stenographers are actually really cool. It's a complex system. When people are typing in a courtroom, they aren't actually using a keyboard and mouse. Or keyboard. They're using a special, I forgot what they call the stenographer thing, which is like a little, it's like typing in shorthand. It's actually really cool. Yeah, and then Battle Royale took over, and by the way, no matter what the kids say, Battle Royale was not made to be spam built. The kids will always say, oh, Fortnite without building is not Fortnite. The game was built around building. It wasn't. It was just part of the game. If you guys were in Fortnite for the first Zero season, so prior to the first season, if you were in Fortnite for S0 and then for S1, the game did not have spam building in it. It's not that the game was incapable of spam building, but it hadn't arisen. It wasn't until Season 2 where spam building started to take off, when people realized that you don't need to build intelligently anymore. You just need to build as fast as possible and essentially manipulate your ping as best as possible. Because what actually limits how fast you can build is your latency, if you guys didn't know that. Putting aside, obviously, your own reaction time, it's still limited by your latency. Same thing with edit time. And basically, it turned into abusing your ping, so you can edit, unedit before someone can respond to you, because your latency will determine how the tiles appear, and when someone goes to respond to you, they can't. And they'll just get shot, and then they'll shoot your wall because you already unedited it. The game itself in Season 0 and 1 was basically limited building, people occasionally using tiles, and building like 2x1s, like rectangles like this. You know, the 2-high rectangle, that was all over in Season 1 and 0. Not so much Season 0. Season 1 had the rectangle before people started spam building and realized they could just shit out tiles and there was no, essentially, cooldown to building. You know. And that's the way it was. Kids always forget about that, mainly because a lot of people didn't actually play the game for Season 0 and 1, but that's the way it was at the beginning. And then when spam building took off, mainly Myth was one of the main creators back then that started spam building, and like he playing against people that didn't know how to do it, like just, you know, would just shit all over them. Because you take a location, then they can't edit it, and then you have an editable location, which essentially represents a defensive cover. You can literally move, because of the way Fortnite works, you can move so fast in Fortnite by building, comparatively to moving. If you're walking, this is one of the problems I have with no build. If you're walking in Fortnite, you're very, very, very slow. And if you're running, you're still relatively slow, like compared to a game like Apex, where there's a lot of really fast movement, right? If you're running in Fortnite, let's say no build, it is still really slow, and you are very, very limited by the speed. There's a lot of crutches built into the game to cater to spam building. I talked about this back when I was playing no build for a week. For instance, when you build, it'll actually, there's a lot of doodads, so just shit laying around in Fortnite that's just been added because it looks cool and it doesn't really matter. When you build in Fortnite in a 1x1 square, it'll evaporate doodads. If it's not like a tree, it'll just blow it up. They're just gone. It never used to be that thing. You never used to be able to build. They changed it at one point. When you're building, you couldn't build over the top of like fences and shit. They just get in the way. So you had like dead spots in your build, and everyone was bitching about that. Eventually, they changed it. So when you put down a tile, it'll just poof, all the doodads are gone. So all the fishing poles and fences, and there's a certain limitation, like when it gets to like real walls where it won't poof it. But like fences, benches, coolers, just a bunch of random shit. Even like, boxes, just weird shit, it'll just explode and it'll just disappear. That's still in the game. And if you're playing in no build, you get stuck on that shit all the time. Like you just run into it and you just get stuck on like a little thing sticking out from the wall. It is very annoying, and then that kills you if you guys didn't know that. Incredibly, incredibly annoying. The game's still built very much around spam building now, whereas it wasn't for a while. But it may sound silly, but right now, like for instance in Fortnite, there's a lot of problems and a lot of reasons I would not play Fortnite no build right now. We already mentioned with their doodads kind of suck dick. The parkour system is very rudimentary. It's not nearly as good as it is in Apex in terms of your ability to climb on stuff and when you should be climbing on stuff, and the fluidity of you climbing on stuff and just looking like an idiot jumping around sometimes when you should be grabbing onto things. The accuracy of weapons are incredibly, incredibly accurate in that game, and that once again goes with the idea of the game's been balanced around building. Because when you're building, you only have a fraction of a second to get a hit in right before someone shits out cover. And as such, the guns have to be incredibly accurate, and if they aren't, you basically just shoot walls, is basically what it amounts to. And over the years, the community has come to hate, because of the spam building, the community has come to hate anything that destroys walls. You have the drum gun, early seasons, the drum gun, C4, RPGs, grenade launchers. Remember those things that were in the game? Yeah, they got rid of them. The boombox. Remember those things in Season 4 and 5, and even earlier than that, grenade launcher and rocket launcher was in the game forever. Those things that used to be used as ways of getting rid of cover are now extremely rare, or they don't exist, or they're put in as a specialty item. Before, they just existed. It was just part of the game. C4 was all over the place. I always used to carry bricks of C4 to break down people's structures and fuck with them. And then you have things that were actually used to get around spam building, the jetpack. Remember the outcry the community had about the jetpack? That was back in Season 5. And I just said that was because people were too stupid to realize you have a jetpack. They just assume you have to spam build to get above them, right? And the jetpack was not fast. I don't know what it's like now. They added the jetpack back after we played for the no-build beta, basically. The jetpack went like this. You went, and then you ended up on top of someone's build. And that was enough to freak people out because they're sitting there like healing or something. Like, it barely moves you, and if you just stand in one place, your crosshair went like this too, so you couldn't fire while using it. And you just going up to someone else's build was very easy to shoot because you were really slow moving, but people didn't like it because it wasn't spam building. Once again, this goes with, I've mentioned this before, but with metas and with communities, is if a meta gets too ingrained, the community will always flip out the moment the meta changes. They just assume the meta has to be the meta no matter what forever. League of Legends has gotten really good at fucking with their community. And what I mean by that is they can present new heroes that completely change meta or twist it and make characters, some characters stronger and some characters weaker. And they'll just flip out, but then the community will accept it, right? They'll just accept it and move on with their lives. League of Legends, Riot has been very good at manipulating their community into just accepting change because they need to. Because in order for you to improve a game, you have to keep changing it. In order for it to be fresh and interesting, you have to keep changing it. Fortnite, anytime they change building, the kids would flip out. Building is insanely broken and OP. And I don't think necessarily no build is the answer. Like, no build could be fun, but I think building itself needs to be changed in that, like I mentioned before, even back when I played Fortnite as my mainstream game. So like 5 years ago, back when it first came out. Back when I was playing it, is that you should have a reservoir. There's a lot of different ways you can balance stuff, right? Game development has a lot of different ways to answer stuff. But you can make building based off of an energy. So a stamina gauge, essentially. So you can build so fast as you want, for a certain amount of time. Basically, let's say 10 tiles. It could be 20 tiles. It doesn't matter, right? Arbitrary number. You can build up to 10 tiles as fast as you want, but then it has to refill your stamina bar. So you can build intelligent structure as fast as you want, and then you have to find a different way of using it, or using it smartly, right? So you can't just shit out 500 materials 1,500 materials, you can just shit out your asshole as fast as you want. You have to be intelligent with what you do. There's a lot of different ways you can balance this. You can put a cooldown on building if you wanted to, like every half a second. That'd make it very difficult to put out cover, though, if you really need it. There's a lot of different ways of dealing with this, and then you can make the stamina gauge from earlier, you can make it recharge. Your build gauge could recharge one tile every 3 seconds or something, right? So it'd take you 30 seconds to get 10 tiles back. Arbitrary number, once again. You could change it, you could edit it. And of course, another big one that they could have done is just making editing take materials. Yeah, tax the edit, and then you would have a very different game, because people would blow through the materials. Materials are basically limitless in Battle Royale, if you didn't know that. And they're essentially limitless. It's a mechanic that was never balanced. And Fortnite, or Epic, just basically went with it. They're like, yeah, man, the kids like this. Let's just go with it. And then they just never balanced it in, since a lot of people kind of lost interest in Fortnite. Fortnite's still a very big game, don't get me wrong. But a lot of people lost interest in Fortnite because they realized basically they couldn't keep up with it, either in terms of reaction time or the secret sauce, which is ping time. They could not keep up with the edits, and it just, building honestly isn't really that appealing, to be perfectly honest. Fast building, it's not intelligent fast building, just fast building and reacting through edits is not honestly that interesting or appealing to me as a gamer. I'm not saying the game has to be all about accuracy of weapons, but yeah. Anyways, kind of a segue here. We're talking originally about different things with no build that are just wrong. The guns, the game itself is balanced a lot around building itself, and as I mentioned, accuracy of weapons. Weapons are too accurate. In the game basically has 2 weapons. You find that out too, there's just shit weapons in the game. They have essentially 2 weapons, which is the drum gun and the drum shotgun, that is. And then also the AUG. The AUG is it's a fucking sniper rifle, laser rifle, assault rifle thing. It's just basically giving them a laser rifle. I actually joked back when I played that the kids basically wanted a laser rifle, and here they are, they have a laser rifle now. Essentially a laser rifle that is limitless in power, and it just comes down to poking people and they just explode. No matter the range that they're at, or there's no damage fall off in the game. Another problem I had with it way back in the days, there's no damage fall off depending on range. And at one point, if you guys remember that, the little Tommy gun, it wasn't like the Thompson, but rather the little machine gun pistol that they had in the game that people were using literally to insta-give people at like medium and long range. I don't know if you guys remember that, yeah, because there's no drop-off on an SMG. Makes no sense. Anyways, the game has a lot of balancing issues, and no build has definitely made it much more apparent what no balancing issues the game doesn't have. And just one of the problems I mentioned before was with, now you notice aim assist. I didn't even know how bad the aim assist was in Fortnite until I watched Nick play tonight, and it's really, really, really fucking bad. And that's because the game's built around building. Essentially, it's balanced around building at this point. But anyways, a couple big things. Aim assist is bad. Doodads are bad. Accuracy of weapons is too high. Another one is the amount of health items you can carry in your inventory. Compared to Apex, you can carry a shitload of health in your Apex inventory. In Fortnite, you have very little health, and once again, that goes back to spam building. Essentially, you're supposed to use building as cover, and you don't really use that much health because your health is essentially your buildings, right? That's what it comes down to. And with no build, that doesn't exist, so there's a lot of nuances to the items in Apex, in Fortnite. And as such, you have a lot of items that are very niche or do very specific things, like they only refill like a certain part of your shield bar, or they operate really slowly, or they really refill your health, or it's incredibly fucking rare. Or there's a lot of nuances, and speeds is generally a big one in no build. It is very easy to blow through your inventory of eats when you're battling in no build. Another problem with the game is basically effective health pools via health items you can carry around, which is very, very limited compared to Apex. You can carry a boatload of health in Apex. and Fortnite, you have like a couple of health items, and that's it, that actually work. The other one outside of that is movement speed. We talked briefly about that, but I didn't actually plan on talking about this tonight. But in terms of like no build, the last one is movement speed. You move way too slow, and the sprint gauge honestly shouldn't even be there. You should just be able to sprint all the time in no build. And in general, there's almost no movement items. Back when I was playing the beta no build, basically it comes down to holding impact grenades is what you need, especially later in the game, in order to get you out of trouble, and they're incredibly rare. Otherwise, you have to be in a vehicle, and even then, maybe not so much, and you'll usually just get third party and you'll just die, because once again, limited health items and Limited mobility means you'll more than likely just shit yourself. And then, of course, the parkour is kind of meh. But yeah, there's a lot of growing issues. Not to say that Epic couldn't fix no build. I think no build Fortnite could actually be much better than building Fortnite. It's not there yet though, particularly because the game is balanced around building. They could actually just have a completely different game for no build, and I think more people would play that than building for sure. They haven't reached that point though. And as I mentioned, just even putting aside no build, aim assist should not be in Fortnite. It should not be in any competitive game. You give them gyro aim, and if they want to sit there and use a controller, they want to sit there and identify as a controller player, they can. As long as they have access to a keyboard and mouse, they should not allow to have aim assist, because it's a pre-programmed crutch to make up for the fact that your input method is shit. So yeah, I don't know how else to word that, and I understand that you want players to be happy that play with the controller, but you also have to understand that they're the ones that are playing with the controller. Assumingly, if you're on console and you're playing cross-platform, you should have the option of keyboard and mouse, right? And consoles have had the option of keyboard and mouse. The developers have to enable it in order to use it. And then that's putting even aside things like Zim, which is a keyboard mouse interpreter. If you guys don't know what that does, it converts keyboard and mouse input to appear like a gamepad. And you can even use them on Windows. So you can get aim assist while using a keyboard and mouse. And still have a very... It's not the same thing as... It's not the same thing as having built-in, or not organic, vanilla. I don't know. It's not the same thing as literally plugging in your keyboard and mouse to your computer. It's different, but it's still much better than using a gamepad. And I've used them before. Yeah, and it's pretty, yeah, it is basically cheating. And once again, another reason they should just get rid of aim assist is because literally people are using something to get around it. And there's even big streamers that have been caught with, who was it, Detox or something? There's like a big COD streamer who's caught with one on his desk, and he said he was just like messing around with it. What do they call him now? Not a Zim, there's another one that he's using. Zims are the older ones. I think it's Medox. Medox or something like that. And there's a lot of people that are caught with, yeah, cheating too, and just... Medox, he's a big streamer. I had it open. I was going to cover this and I never did. I didn't talk about it because it's just... At this point, it's in such... Like, Twitch doesn't care and the game companies don't fucking care, and just... It's like, why am I even bothering talking about shit like this? I might still have the tab open on my phone. Mutix. Cronus. Clips no longer available. Surprise! I just want to address the whole Cronus situation. Somebody I clipped a streaming desktop today and showed I had the old Cronus program, the Cronus Pro. I used the Cronus back in the day when of course, we used to compete in WW2. In the past Call of Duty LAN events, players were required to use a Cronus Max to avoid Bluetooth interference. Ah. Uh-huh, of course. And And the clip muted has already deleted his Cronus from his computer and shows his viewers he doesn't have the program running in the background stream. Yeah. But anyways, it's a keyboard mouse interpreter. It allows you to use a keyboard and mouse as an input method. Of course, you can also just plug in a... you can have a wired connection by plugging in a gamepad to it if you wanted to. I suppose. Just no reason to have a $200 device to do that. Yeah. Anyways, just once again, just closing a bunch of loopholes here. There's no reason that they should have aim assist at all. Just keyboard and mouse. Assumingly, if you have crossplay, even if they don't have crossplay, like why would you even have aim assist if... So let's say you have two controller players playing against each other on console, or on the same input method on computer. You have two players playing against each other with controller. Why would you give them aim assist? That would lower the skill ceiling for both of these guys, right? If you have A and B playing against each other, why would you give them aim assist when it would just come down to skill if there was no aim assist? They'd look like clowns. They'd absolutely look like clowns while they're trying to kill each other, but eventually the best person would win, right? So even at the most basic level, if you have controller versus controller playing against each other, if you give them aim assist, they're actually gonna, like, it's gonna be worse for whoever is the more skilled player. Whoever's the more skilled player without aim assist would win, and they're gonna look silly while doing it, but someone will win that, and they will be the more skilled player, more than likely. It's not gonna come down to RNG. They'll be the more skilled player. Aim assist is like the dirty secret of competitive games, or even first-person shooters now. And a lot of people don't put in context about it, and of course big streamers don't talk about it if they're using it because they don't want to look bad. But it literally just lowers the skill cap and just makes everything a joke. And then it makes it more difficult to see who's actually cheating too. So it makes it even more... That's one of the things I don't like, is then it makes it more difficult to tell when someone's actually using aim assist or just cheating, just using aimbot. Well, anyways, it needs to disappear. I don't know why they keep catering to that one group, and it doesn't, like, just as if you have cross-platform, you have consoles playing against PCs. As long as these guys have access to a keyboard, and these guys have access to a keyboard, you know, these guys can use controllers too, and these guys can use controllers, but why would you do that when it's an inferior input method, right? Obviously, there are some people with disabilities, and that's still a thing, right? But that's like a fractional part of the player base, and yeah, I don't think that's... I'm not going to say worth catering to, but rather you are subjecting the entirety of the player base to something that hurts them in order to cater to an ultra small portion of the player base. I don't think it makes it worth it. It's not like real life. It's not the same thing as like receiving disability or having special needs taken care of in real life. It's not the same thing, so I don't know. Yeah, that's also part of it, like getting let down hard, right? Realizing that you actually suck at the game. Yeah, and there's also that is just the recovery when people realize that their aim, like I said, gyro aim actually is pretty good. If you use gyro aim, it's not good for close quarters, like for snapping, like, you know, aiming really fast, but you can use both gyro aim and the joystick aim. And the gyro aim is very good for making long-range shots. Medium and long-range shots aiming at someone is actually very intuitive to use. So not all is lost, and I'm pretty sure most gamepad players never have touched gyro aiming. If you have, try it out. And it's different, and it will require a learning curve, but without aim assist, it's going to be easier. And by the way, the people that say, oh, I just play without aim assist fucks me up, are just full of shit. Yeah, aim assist helps majority of players, and majority of them have it on. There's no reason. Yeah. Yep, exactly. Or like, oh, my aim assist isn't working? Yeah. And then the funny thing about this is they're blaming a pre-programmed advantage on the reason that they lost. I mean, I guess I understand their angle, but it still doesn't make sense, right? Like, you're like complaining about the fact that your cheat stopped working is more or less what it comes down to. And I mean, that could be just jarring if it just happens out of nowhere, but yeah, just like, yeah. Yeah, and there's also, I've met people that say that they don't play with aim assist, and they're a rarity, and I applaud you if you play a game without aim assist and you do remotely average. Just good for you. That is applaud worthy, because you're playing with an absolutely inferior input method. and you are still somehow clinging to life. Yeah. I will applaud you for that, and that's rare for me to do. I have a very high bar, and I know how difficult it is to play without aim assist, but that's just another reason these pieces of shit suck so much dick. It's fine. By the way, gamepads do have a use, mainly for like racing games and anything require linear input. This is a linear input. This is not the same thing as on and off, right? Let's say if I push the S key on my keyboard, that's like going like that instantly, right? A linear input means I can go like this, where I can go slightly to the right? And this allows you to have varied input. And that can be very useful for something like a flight sim or a racing game, you know, where you have to turn the tires slightly. And there's ways of kind of making up for that even with the keyboard and mouse, where when you push the keyboard and mouse, you push the key, it'll make it turn and then it'll speed up, right? It'll act like a joystick, where it won't be an instantaneous input. And some games do that, but like this has something like this. And this is also why you can see in DBD where people move slower than normal because they're going slowly on their stick, right? But in general, this sucks. This input method sucks for any fast-paced games. And people need to get over it. They do. I thought Fortnite would be the first company to take a stance on that, and they haven't. Then again, they couldn't stand up to their spam builders either, so... I mean, I guess maybe the first step to them standing up to spam building is no build mode. And then they can balance it. If they change the balancing and based on no build versus build, they could have a completely different game in no build that would cater to a different player base. They could have both of them. They don't need to get rid of one or the other, right? Just keep build the same and just build no build. Build on no build, and then keep your keep your shitty fucking spam builders in their own little queue over here, and they'll keep playing it, right? And it doesn't matter if you have like, people are probably going to complain that it'll fragment the player base. It won't. You have people that literally have not touched Fortnite in 4 years, that I haven't touched Fortnite in 4 years, who touched the game again. That's a pretty big fucking deal, right? These guys over here are not the guys over here. These guys over here are going to keep doing what the fuck they're doing. These guys over here are literally new players that you get cast away by not wanting to have building, or wanting to have spam building game. So. Oh, good. Anyways, I can only harp on that for so long. Unfortunately, kind of on deaf ears because, once again, I don't have that many people watching, so whatever. Welcome to my life, guys. I've been here on Twitch since 2012, streaming pretty much every day.